So hello Fairmont, thank you for this interview for La Boîte à Moustache. So as first question, so what was your musical environment when you grew in Toronto?
Lots of different stuff, but I guess the important things, like before electronic music, was when I was in high school I was big into the Beastie Boys.
Yeah?
This is like 1992, 93. So when they released Check Your Head, that was a big record. So it's like that, and then some hip hop, and then slowly into electronic music.
Okay, really fun kind. And so you started in mid-90s to start music. Yeah.
Yeah.
At this period, did Detroit and Chicago music have a really important place and influence on the Canadian electronic music scene?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much for me as some other people, because I'd like, it took me a few years to meet other people that were interested in electronic music. Like not that many of my friends were into it. So I think that Chicago and Detroit were really a big influence on Toronto in general, but not necessarily for me in particular, because I was just like finding whatever I could find, and I didn't. It's like I kind of found random stuff because I was kind of on my own at first, like looking for electronic records because my friends were into other things. But for sure, like definitely like Plus 8 and Richie's music and that whole world was big for me once I discovered it, for sure.
Okay, and when did you really realize that you would become a professional musician?
Oh, I don't know. That hasn't happened yet, maybe.
No. And so in 2012 you released your album Automaton as Fairmont, and also an EP, so Old Boys, with your duo Bishop Morocco.
Yeah.
So it's quite hard to imagine how you succeed to work on two very different projects. What is your musical approach to these two different projects?
I don't know. They both, I mean, I've been doing my own stuff for so long, and then the band is like this really nice departure, so I don't have to have such a responsibility. So my favorite part about being in the band is that I can sort of, it's more relaxed because it's just not stressful. Like with my own work, it's like how I make my money and how I provide for myself, and the band is like, it's for fun.
Yeah.
It's like, so I guess the approach is like, one is very serious, and the other one, like, I take it seriously, but it's not like, and I've got somebody there every time I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't working, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. So it's fun, really, to collaborate in that way.
And so since 2012 you didn't release anything as Jack Fairley. Can we still hope for new releases, or
yeah?
You want
I
to
mean,
stop?
I guess I still use it here and there, but of course, like the Fairmont brand is the biggest brand. I mean, like the Jake Fairley thing, I think it has a bit of catch in France, but like in general, it's not so big. So when I make the record and if I want it to work really well, I have to use the brand that's the biggest. Especially now, it gets harder and harder to reach people.
Yeah.
So when I started, you could have like 4 names. Like this was going back 10 or more years. You could have all these different names, and people would still find you, and they're going to the record shops and searching. And things are a bit different. Like you have to fight for every little way so that people can find you. You know.
Why?
Well, I guess because there's so much happening all the time, so many releases, and there's zero filter. Like people are just finding it online, and before you would be going to a record store, and then the guy at the record store would say, okay, here's the latest 10 records. Oh, and you didn't hear about this? Well, this is the same guy as that. This is another moniker. And now it's nobody's helping. Yeah, nobody's helping you figure out these things. So it's you can't take such liberties in that way, like with names.
So I would like to talk about your music as Fairmont. what is your state of mind when you are composing music? And do you have a specific moment during the day for composing? I mean,
I work during the day. I like getting up and having a coffee and starting work. I'm not so much of a late night guy, but I'll do it like once I get on a roll, then I'll make sure to work until things are done, because I know it's not always like that. Sometimes it'll be months and months where I'm like having a lot of trouble to feel inspired or something. So once I have a good line of inspiration, then I don't waste it, and so I might stay up all night for weeks and weeks and weeks or something, because you never know when you're going to find it again. But in general, I'm like a daytime guy, so I'm like get up and have the sun shining and the birds and stuff. I'm not like a drinking Diet Coke, eating Doritos all night kind of guy.
And so when you finish a track, who is the first person that we listen to?
Oof. That changes all the time. Yeah.
You know, lucky one that
I don't know if it's lucky. I finish a lot of songs. Not all of them are good, so. But it gets less and less when you're young and it's very new to finish songs. It's like you want everybody to hear it instantly, and you think everything you do is so special, and then you get older and the people like they're your friends and family and people close to you have heard, they've heard this so many times and stuff. It's like you don't want to burden them.
No.
And you don't need the affirmation so quickly anymore. Like you're more relaxed with yourself when you get a bit older. So you're like, you can wait and listen and keep listening and then say, okay, this one's good enough, and then you can play it for people. You don't just have to finish it and then 30 seconds later like, oh, I need people to tell me that this is great. Like you're more relaxed.
Okay.
This is the thing about getting older.
So let's talk about now your experience within the Laval broader community. How did you meet James Holden?
Just through sending a demo. Okay. So I was like interested in what they were doing.
You lived in Berlin
at this time? Yeah. So this is going back 8 years, I guess. And yeah, it was like really, like a lot of people at that time were like, the label just had a really fresh take on it, and somehow I felt that it was overlapping with a change in what I was doing. And then so I just sent a demo in the mail, which very rarely works, and I never thought it would work in this case because in other times where I didn't know what to do with songs and stuff, sometimes I would send it to a label without being introduced. And it never works. You always have to know somebody in general. Sometimes it works, but it's very rare. So this was really funny that the one time where this really worked, it was with such a successful label at its peak and stuff like that. So this was quite cool.
So this label has really a unique identity, and it reveals a strong selectivity with its artists. It seems like artists from this label really stand together, show solidarity. Do you agree?
Yeah. I think everybody I've met through the label has some similar traits in terms of like being pretty down to earth, being pretty imaginative, and being pretty I don't know, simple and nice and kind, and not the typical like go-getter DJ type. So there's definitely like a line that even though the music is just being selected on its own, something behind each of these things that James and Gemma heard equated to like a type of personality that was getting brought into the group that sort of had something to do with the other guys. So
So let's talk now about your live performance. So you were already used to play in Toronto, and then you meet a European public. Did you notice any differences between these two publics?
Definitely. Like the first time I played for big audiences was in Europe, so So I played in Toronto a bunch, but the first time I came to Europe was in like 2001. I came to Germany and then France 2002. Yeah. So I played Panorama Bar. I don't know when that was. Beginning of 2001 or something like that. So very early on at the old location. And then Art Theater in Cologne was like my second gig. And that was probably like the first time I played to like a really like packed club. Because in Toronto the scene was it's still quite small, but it was really small. So like we were having these cool parties, but like really, really small and without the infrastructure that Europe had. And so that was the main thing.
Okay. And you played so many different kinds of club and festivals, really little club to such a great festival as Love Parade in 2007. Do you adapt your behavior and your attitude according to the club or to the size of the club?
Not really. I don't try to anyways. I just try to do the best show that I can no matter what.
And what do you prefer?
I like something in between like 150 and 400, somewhere in there.
Okay.
So a couple hundreds is perfect. Sometimes you can have a really great party that's just like 75 people, but it's a bit difficult when you need special circumstances and a special energy. And sometimes you can have a great party that has like 1,000 people, but you also need like really special people. And it's usually once you break like 300 or 400, you start getting into just there's so many people there that are there for different reasons that it's difficult to for them all to be engaged in the same way at the same time because they're there for the same reasons kind of thing.
So, little question, what did you feel when you played at the Love Parade? Because I saw the video and it was so incredible.
It was, I was nervous. People when it's in the middle of the day and it's, you only had 25 minutes or something, so it was very strange. But it was really fun. It was a special opportunity.
Yeah, I can imagine. And do you have any current or producer that influence your music?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
No?
I'd say that I'd have to think about it. I don't know.
Okay. So, what is your musical crush at the moment? The track that you can't stop to listen.
At the moment, I'm super into. There's an album from Andrew Weatherall that's coming out in a few months. Andrew Weatherall. It's coming out. It's coming out in a few months. That I got an advanced copy of, and it's really, really nice. So I'm into that.
Did you already meet him?
No.
No.
Someday.
And so, last question: do you have already new plans, projects for the future?
Just to keep busy. So we'll see. But I have no plans on slowing down. So I'm already working on new stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I plan to be outputting more than I have. There was a couple of years where I was slowing down, and now I'm.
You are really active.
Now I'm happy to be active again and release more and play more, and that's the main thing that's going to change.
Okay, so we can't wait for your new project.
Thanks.
Thank you a lot, Fairmont.
Thank you.
Thank you.